Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. You're about to discover how to become the best version of yourself, self-aware, resilient, intentional, optimistic, and balanced. This is Leadership Partners Executive Coaching. I'm going to change views so you don't see my face the whole time and you can see all the slides clearly. So here we go. Good morning, everyone. Again, I'm really excited to have you guys here. Oh, I get to stay down at the bottom. That's even better. Okay, here's our jam-packed agenda for today. I'd like to share who we are as educators, as an organization, and how and why what we do. Then I'll explain our approach, our methodology, share our coaches, collaborate with you to create skills and dispositions that you need as a leader. So we'll be talking about our approach. We'll talk about the roadmap and your coaching journey. We'll talk about the skill enhancement plan that coaches make in a collaborative way with you, and how we wrap this whole thing in assessment and accountability. And of course, everyone's going to want to know about impact, and I will share that as well. So who am I? I'm Lawrence Cohn. I'm a co-founder and partner at Leadership Partners in Houston, Texas. My partner and I and lead coach, both of us are longtime educators. I've been an English teacher, a campus principal on Humble ISD, a professor, a director of a nonprofit that was at Rice University, and now here I am as a partner in Leadership Partners. So you see on the screen, it talks about our names, and then there's this what, and it says REAP 2008 to 2000. That was the nonprofit that was a program created by Rice University and a nonprofit in Houston called the Houston Endowment to help leaders get really high-level leadership development. And it was done through the Jones Graduate School of Business. So principals were coming a couple times a month for about a year and did a summer intensive. And while they were doing that, they had an executive coach. The idea was, if you give a principal who's like the CEO of this campus, or a superintendent who's like the CEO of a whole system, an executive coach, or any leader, an executive coach, to become the best version of themselves and coupled it with MBA acumen, it turned out to be pretty powerful for leaders. In 2016, that funding ceased, and we decided that we would start Leadership Partners. My partner and I, we both worked there for a number of years running that program. And we have a mission, and it's to develop the whole leader. Just like you guys want to develop the whole child, we're after developing the whole leader. That's what we're going to talk about today. That's in the academy at Rice. Coaching is a part of that. We're talking about just the coaching piece today and how that can be very, very impactful on its own. So I got a question for you. You came to this webinar for a reason, and I want you to keep in the back of your mind as I walk you through all these slides that this is what you really need as the answer to your question. What is it you want for yourself? Is this a solution to what you're seeking for yourself? Keep that in the back of your mind because it's a really important question. We pride ourselves on a unique approach to executive coaching. We are highly vested in every client, and we create and tailor a very personalized experience using IFC coaches, International Coaching Federation coaches, which is the gold standard of coaching. Our model is really unique, and it really revolves around four main skills or dispositions, which we're going to look at right now. Here they are. Here are four main dispositions and skills of great leaders. They have a strong sense of self-awareness. Leading self with affinity is essential in order to lead others the same way. Leaders need a really good, strong growth mindset, and that's easier said than done, as most effective leaders have mastered a strong inner locus of control because that gives them the power to make outcomes and influences with confidence with their own actions. They feel like they're in control of what they do and don't let external forces bother them. And maybe one of the most important ones, they overcome negativity bias, which is really super important because negative self-talk, and I know it as a former leader and you know it as a leader now, negative self-talk can really doom you. There's some more foundational tenets to our model. We've got a lot of experience in coaching, over a decade and pretty close to 2,000 people now. And there's that whole notion of a whole leader again. Coaching to the whole leader has extremely powerful meaning. The same way that you're upping the EQI of the kid, we need to get the EQI on our leaders because we know we need to get that optimized in our leaders because we know that leadership is an inside job, meaning in between the ears. And when this is effectively done, it's all that I talked about before. Leaders become more resilient. They become more self-aware. They become more reflective. They're intentional. They're resilient. They're optimistic. And if you have all those qualities going for you, you show up the best version of yourself, that really is powerful, because research has shown what that does is it absolutely optimizes them to where they're impacting outcomes, in particular reading and math. And research shows highly effective leaders who have good EQIs, they retain their teachers. People don't want to leave because the leadership is so powerful and optimized. They don't want to be led by someone else, so they stay. And we know today, keeping a teacher is a big deal. Remember my leading self mantra we talked about before? Here it is again. Leading self is like super, super important. If you can lead yourself, you can actualize your own values and traits. Our coaches help you figure out your leadership identity and your personal identity. And you wind up creating your standards of integrity that you show up and live by. Very important. Leading self with affinity allows you to lead self. Leading self with affinity allows you to lead others the same way. So here is our coaching roadmap. We call it the transformational coaching optimizer. But really the whole purpose of this, the message I have for you is we're using ICF coaches to transform education leaders to become the best versions of themselves as leaders in under 21 weeks without travel or time constraints, so you can positively impact student achievement and retain those you lead. That's our message to you. Now, I want you to see how this works. There's 3 phases, and this doesn't mean you go through all 9 of these exact steps. These are phases and steps that you will experience. Some of them are integrated together, some of them are not. But your whole coaching experience is 7 rounds of coaching. It's about an hour a round, except for the welcome round, which is about an hour and a half. So the first one is you got to know yourself. Remember, we talked about lead self. We do that by giving you a couple of assessments. One is called an optimum assessment, and the optimum assessment allows you to find out your wellness traits or what level they are at. Your personal wellness, your spiritual wellness, your emotional wellness. It's a very good look at yourself to see where you are and where you feel you are well and where you might be able to grow a little bit. There's also a very robust 360 leadership assessment. And if you've never taken a 360 leadership assessment before, basically what that is, we have leadership competencies rooted in all what we do. And the leadership competencies that are in part of our 360 assessment allows a leader to find out their strengths, their opportunities, and their blind spots in their leadership. So you take it as a self-assessment, your supervisor takes it, your direct reports take it, and your colleagues who are the same roles as you take it, the ones that know you well enough. And you get this very robust, about a 70-page report about everything you would ever want to know about yourself as a leader, but we're afraid to ask. And I'm just kidding. But what you really find out is that there are opportunities to grow. And I think everyone knows inside that they have opportunities to grow and how, but this specifies and verifies for you what you suspect, but you also find out things you may not suspect, when we call them blind spots. So what happens is once you've discovered and you're ready to go to the next phase, now you're really working with your ICF coach to start a strategy and goals sessions. And what that means is take this data about yourself, take what you want for yourself, collaborate and work with your ICF coach to figure out a strategy to get you where you want to go. To amplify that, goals are set, and this is done through their deep questioning of you, and they create a narrative for you called a life script that pretty much tells you in first person what you want for yourself, and they hold you to that the whole way through. So you're starting to apply your life scripts now. You know what you want for yourself. You're showing up. You're trying these strategies for yourself to become a better leader. And now you're entering phase 3. And this is where you were held accountable by your coach. They're going to check in with you and say, hey, in your life script last time, and an action step and goal you set for yourself was to be in classrooms more or to show up on campuses more as a superintendent or a district leader, whatever that may be. Are you really doing it? And if not, let's talk about what's hindering you. So they're going to hold you accountable through the whole process as you go and transform yourself to the best version of yourself. And because you can't have a coach forever, we got you covered there. You'll be using certain tools along the way to help you reach the goals you want. But before you are done with your 7 rounds of coaching with this incredible coach, They give you a toolkit so you can self-coach. And not only is that a cool toolkit for you to self-coach, you can share those tools with those you lead and coach and help them to grow just as well. And now you're ready to be impactful. You are transformed. You are the best version of yourself, and you are ready to go out there and retain those you lead and impact outcomes. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so I talked about a skill enhancement plan in the agenda. So you really work with your coach to create a comprehensive plan to enhance your skills and dispositions. There's a deep alignment, as you can see, and our coaches are ICF gold standard coaches. Some of them are board certified. They're just unbelievably talented at doing this. And everything's aligned with your goals, with the 360, with what your organizational objectives are. And it's a process of growth and reflection over a nice amount of time. And by the way, these 7 sessions, they're scheduled around your schedule. If you want to be coached at 7 o'clock on Thursday night, that's when you get coached. If you want to be coached at 10 in the morning on Saturday, that's when you're going to get coached. It's all up to you. I talked about this being a collaborative process, and so it is. It's not somebody telling you what to do. It's someone who's listening to understand. They're collaboratively engaged with you the whole way through. They ask you really good questions. They dig deep into what you want. They challenge you. They support you. And then you start to get like a different level of self-efficacy and confidence. And that self-doubt and that negative self-talk starts to wane. And they'll even talk about anything else you want as well. There are certain goals of every session, but there's also time to talk about things like job success strategies or other things that you might have of interest. They're all great about talking to you about that as well. They're really there to serve you and support you and just really push you along and help you along to become a really great leader. And of course, we talked about this a little bit before. You're getting these feedback mechanisms and self-improvement tools. The assessments are diagnosing you. Your emotional intelligence is really growing. And it's a very client-centric kind of a plan. I hope you can see that now. I'm trying to show you how this is really tailored and super personalized for you. Really cool stuff. Everybody wants to know about impact. Let me say this. It almost looks like it's made up, but it's not. These are about the last 300 people we've coached from 22 to 24. And if you notice all the things that I was talking about, being intentional and self-aware and resilient and all these things, balanced, and all the prompts that we use, after the 7 rounds of coaching, this is what we ask them, and this is how they answer. 100% of them will strongly agree with every one of those statements, which is pretty profound when you think about it. And very few people ever mark neutral. And I could tell you, if I went back and did this back 5, 6 more years, it would look just the same. It's that strong of a transformation process where people really feel that. And you see, of course, the last 2 or 3 that, you're just better leaders. I lead other people better. And I'd recommend this to anybody. That one comes out 100% strongly agree. There's not even an agree on that one. Here's a couple qualitative responses. I know people like that stuff, and I'm not going to read it out loud to you. I'll leave it up there long enough for you to look at it. But I could list statements like this over and over and over again, because we don't just ask them how they feel as leaders. We ask them to explain, what did you take away from this? How are you different? How are you better? And you can see the impact that this has had on people. You can pause this and read it, but I think by now you probably had. And there's just been so much transformation, and it doesn't make any difference what level leader you are. You could be an assistant principal, you could be an instructional coach, you could be a superintendent, a principal, an executive director, anything from a campus up to a central office, all the way to a university campus. You could actually also work at a university and get coached. We coached for UT, we coached at Rice, we coached in community college systems. This is impactful for any level of leadership. There's 3 different kinds of coaching packages that you can engage in. The one we've been talking about the most is called the standalone coaching package. That's the same exact coaching the people that go to our academy get. Exactly the same, except you actually get a couple modules, if I'm not mistaken, in there that are in addition to going through the whole process. But you do the 360, you do the optimum assessment, you get the 7 rounds of coaching. It's a really cool package. The team coaching package is something different. So if you're running a new admin team, or you're running a new cabinet, if you're a superintendent, whoever your team is, Sometimes getting new team members or leading a new team, and you guys know this, you're experienced leaders, that can be pretty tough to build trust and build psychological safety in your team. It takes a lot of work. And our team coach is amazing. She can get a team whipped into shape despite what the purpose is or whatever the problems are. And it's a really cool package. And finally, we have a performance coaching package. If you want to know if you are really doing a good job as a coach of others, because you have to coach people too, you've got to coach those you lead, and you feel like I could probably be a little bit better at this, our performance coaching package is just for that. You can see it's best for leaders who like to support, to practice, and receive feedback to build your capacity and coaching performance. Really cool. Okay. If this interests you and you want to learn more about how it would apply to you in your context, I'm going to leave this up here. If you scan that QR code, it will take you to a Calendly page, and you can pick a date and time where we can sit down and talk and see how this applies best to you. We would love to have you as part of Leadership Partners Executive Coaching Program. I will tell you that you can go on our website, get at the bottom, leadershippartnerstx.com. And if you go to the executive coaching section, you can read more about this. There are also some pretty powerful testimonial videos and a whole lot more of the qualitative data that I was talking about as well. But I would love to meet with you through Zoom and walk you through even more and listen to the answer to your question. What is it you want for yourself? What do you really need? And I could try to advise you and share more things with you to help you get what you need. Even if you don't get involved with coaching, I can probably put you in touch with some pretty cool resources to help you get what you need. We'll do anything to help leaders because we believe so much in public education and private education and any kind. And we know how important leadership is. You guys are second only to teachers in impacting achievement. So we need you to be optimized because our kids need great leaders and so do our teachers. Thank you so much for your time today. And I really hope you scan that QR code and meet with me because I'd like to meet you regardless. Have a good rest of the week.